To me, in my concern, there's andragogy and then there's highly effective andragogy. Okay? And the last 20 years of my life, I've been focusing on highly effective andragogy. And in my opinion, highly effective andragogy is adult-based learning that sticks with the learners years after they've learned or they've picked up the skill, and after the class is over.
You were doing this before it was...
Oh yeah, I was doing adult learning.
You were doing this in your 20s?
In my 20s. I mean, even while I was going to night school for my MBA.
Wow.
So in my job, I was teaching adults how to go out into small factories in Brooklyn and Queens and how to do energy audits, how to write up the audits and present it to the owners so they would use more efficient light bulbs or use better insulation on their boilers, etc. So I had to teach these, let's just say, pre-engineers how to do this. So I didn't know anything really about andragogy at that point,
right.
But I had great mentors in my Bachelor of Engineering. I used their methods when I taught when I was actually in the real working world.
As far as...
You have to get their respect.
Okay.
So I would explain to them what the process was. Hey, I'm going to look through your energy bills. I'm going to walk through your factory. It's going to be totally transparent. And I'm going to estimate what you can save and what the ROI is for the light bulbs, for the insulation, etc. Like, once you had them locked in, then they're like, okay, we'll let you walk around our factory.
So you had to teach others
how to do that.
How to do that.
How to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So two things had to change. Reduce the number of steps and improve the skills of the manufacturing employees. So it's kind of a wake-up call for them. It's like, hey, you may be an expert on this IBM personal computer Model X, but guess what? When we streamline, we're going to be taking Model X, Y, and Z, putting it on the same manufacturing line. You got to learn how to do all three of them. FLEAN, so future learning expectations and needs. Okay, very important, very important. So if I was going to be talking to a new teacher or new trainer, I would say when you start a class, you do not start teaching until you understand future learning expectations and needs. What's in it for me? So bottom line is the second year we really got it figured out. All 10 of my students beat the S&P 500. I made a call to the News and Observer. I said, hey, we got 20-year-old college women here that all beat the S&P 500. What do you think? Is that ready for a story? He goes, yeah, I think so. And they came in with the cameras and everything, and they basically filmed my students or took pictures of my students presenting, how they beat the S&P 500. So that was very exciting, and it keeps them engaged. It's like every week. We're not just handing in my homework from the textbook. I'm showing Professor Damico my PowerPoint chart on how I'm doing versus the S&P 500, and they had a chance to switch stocks in the middle of October. One chance to switch on 4 stocks. Okay? By the end of Thanksgiving, they'd all done it. So you want to be successful in adult learning as a teacher, or you want to be successful as a grammar school teacher. It really doesn't matter. When you're dealing with adults, even when you're dealing with children, but especially with adults, you have to know what their favorite radio station is. WIIFM. What's in it for me? It really doesn't matter in life. Okay? If you understand who you're communicating with and where they're tuning into, okay, and what's important to them, you can teach them anything. Meredith, I was just teaching business students, right? Here, I'm teaching banking people. I could have one class with people from the banking industry or the insurance industry or the government industry, all with different motivations. So if you could identify what are the future learning expectations and needs of the people in the banking industry, the insurance industry, or government, whoever's in your class, and you stay and you come back on that every day and make sure that the students are connecting the dots between what you're teaching them with the SaaS software and what their needs are, they will stay engaged. We just taught you these 10 skills over the last day. Are you understanding how that connects with this bar chart that you want to do? And they would say, yeah, I can do this and this with my data, or this and this with my data, and I can solve that problem. That's what you want. You want them connecting the dots during class, and they're already thinking about when they leave and they get back to their job, how they're going to be more effective. That's how you use fleens. So that helps them start connecting the dots and getting motivated, so when they take this book, and I always tell them, listen, my job is to help you connect the dots between your job and this book. Okay? This book is just got a bunch of nice formulas in it and software procedures, but at the end of the day, if you can't connect the dots between this book and your job, it's a waste of time. So that's my job. 2 key things. Talk to your key customers about future topics, do a case study, and follow that through the chapters. And then for distance learning, add, and then the key thing for all of it must be what I call ETL, ETR. Easy to learn, easy to replicate. If you're writing a book, okay, and you're teaching, it's got to be easy to learn, and then when they go home and they take it back and they want to apply it, it's got to be easy to replicate, okay? If it's not, you're writing an effective book. If you want to do highly effective andragogy, it's got to be ETL, ETR. Distance learning, whole different ball game. You've got to use your chat screens, and typically you'll have that on a WebEx type of training session where you can ask them, if it's a 20-minute exercise, every 5 minutes, okay, I have this on my, I'm at this step 7 through the exercise. I'm showing this on my screen. What are you showing? And then they show it in their chat. If they're all showing the same, great, then everybody moves on. You don't want 20 minutes to go by and then one person is lost, and then you have to try and get that person back up to speed. That will put the rest of the class to sleep. So continuous monitoring in the classroom or distance learning is a key to success. So 3 types of questions. Number 1 is quick and easy, right? I can usually answer it at the snap of a finger, and usually 1/3 of the questions that you get, let's just say you get 30 questions over that, the course of that class or whatever. 10 out of the 30 are going to be quick and easy, and when I answer them real quick, we make it fun. You take out your old easy button here.
That was easy.
And then the class laughs. In fact, they will tell me to hit the button when I forget. So you forgot to hit it, Frank.
That was easy.
And I hit that. So 1/3 of the questions will be easy, and you answer them really fast. You always have to have evaluations, whether it's a 3-day class or a 3-month class. At the end, you want to know 3 things. How well did the instructor do, right? Number 2, how was the book? Was the book good? And number 3, how was the class environment and the learning, whether it's classroom learning or distant learning? The most appropriate surveys for that is really SurveyMonkey. What was very useful about the class? What was the least useful? Those things actually go into future updates of the book. So some students will say, I wish you could have done this case study. I wish you could have done this at chapter 4, and we do that in the future. We'll make those changes. The must-have topics are the ones that would take money out of their pocket and pay for. The would like to have is, well, I'd like to have it, okay? And then you write your book on the must-have, and then you're going to have a book which is going to engage your students. And another thing is, if you're doing on-site training, always get there a day earlier. So if you're training and they say, hey, Frank, you're training in Miramar, Florida next month, okay? And it starts on Tuesday. You don't arrive on Tuesday. You fly in maybe Sunday, you go there on Monday, you make sure that all the audiovisual equipment is working, that you have a good internet connection. So yeah, you got to make sure that all the technology things are taken care of before you start class. The teaching business, this is a relationship business, okay? If you want the students to get the most out of it, you have to understand where they're coming from, in my opinion, a week before the training starts. Yeah, with distance learning, hey, I don't like surprises. What can I tell you? I don't like surprises, and frankly, my students don't like surprises either. If you fail to plan,
You plan to fail.
you plan to fail.
What have your students taught you?
Patience. So number 1 thing that my students have taught me is patience, and anything can happen. I like to go to the gym. I like to go to the gym before, whatever, maybe the first thing in the morning, if I'm teaching, and I just like to have that agility, and the mental agility and the physical agility, because that will help you have the enthusiasm. And you need to have that, really. Even in the morning and the afternoon, you need to have it all the way through. And you have to have that. Your enthusiasm will be contagious for the students, and they'll have a better attitude for learning. Who the best teachers were that you had in your life, and who the worst teachers were. And if the worst teachers, you will remember immediately, okay? Don't be like them. Be like the best teachers you've had, and then really care about your students, and it'll be fun all the way around.